Namaste. Welcome back once again for another question with waking up with mindful surrender yoga. I literally forgot what that title was. Anyway, I'm in good shape today. It is December the 29th. We are approaching the beginning of a new year, and I'm hoping that you all find some peace with letting go with whatever you experienced in 2023 and are open and ready to receive with awe everything that 2024 has to offer. That being said, I'm going to pull a question out of the jar. I'm pulling out this beautiful piece of purple paper because it's on top, and also because I know what it is, because I wrote this quote down this morning when I heard it and said, I'd like to talk about that. So I chopped it up and put it in the jar. I am going to set the timer. Maybe not. I'm having a hard time with it. There we go. Okay. So this quote says, it's from B.F. Skinner, a famous psychologist who studied, I don't know if he studied classical conditioning, but he did study conditioning, the effect of conditioning on the human personality. And he described personality as this. Personality is a collection of response tendencies that are tied to various stimulus situations and may vary in strength depending on past conditioning. Wow. B.F. Skinner said that personality is a collection of response tendencies that are tied to various stimulus situations and may vary in strength depending on past conditioning. Wow. Now that is a very scientific approach, a definition that explains in scientific terms exactly what yoga is all about. When we talk about yoga, we talk about union with the true self, removing all that filter veil that is between us and the true self, between what we think is reality that comes through our five senses and what is reality. So it is about purification so that we can experience true self. It is removing of the personality, which is the one thing that is standing in our way from reaching freedom or liberation. Okay, the yogis would refer to personality as a collection of, Patanjali did anyway, mental modifications, ripples in the still lake. What Skinner is saying then is this personality that we identify, this ego, this little me-ness that I call me. You ask me who I am and I'll begin to tell you what I like and what I don't like, as if that defines who I am, my preferences. So, in that being said, personality, according to I don't know where I got P.S. B.F. Skinner, was a collection of response tendencies. A collection of response tendencies. So we are collecting response tendencies. These tendencies we have to respond in a certain way. Our reactions are a better word for them. For most of us, we are reacting, not responding. We're not taking the time to create distance between us and what is showing up in front of us like a knee-jerk reaction. We are reacting without thought, without clarity, without that pause between the stimulus and the response. And most of us are reacting to life rather than responding to life. So we have this collection of tendencies in how we react. This collection of response tendencies that makes up this psyche, this veil layer, this personality, the yogis would refer to our samskaras. What are we doing? How we respond to certain triggers from life. It says that these response tendencies are tied to various stimulus situations. What are stimulus situations? B.F. Skinner and Pavlov, I don't know if they've ever worked in the same lab or not, but they both worked on this idea of conditioning, classical and non-classical conditioning. But both in Pavlov's conditioning exercises or experiments, he would use the bell and try to get the dog to salivate with the sound of the bell. That became the trigger of the stimulus situation, so that he would, instead of the food. So it's just a matter of getting people to respond or react in a certain way. So we have these personality, these personal minds or whatnot, that are triggered by certain things outside there in the outside world. So I have this response tendency. I'm going to react if I hear somebody saying certain things to me. Okay? For some reason, I am responding or reacting to that particular stimuli. Someone walks in and says, I find that you are just not working hard enough. And that triggers something in me, so I automatically react and say, how dare you tell me I'm not working hard enough? Right? So I had the response tendencies, that reactivity to a various stimulus situation, which was this person, this exterior event, this external event, this person in the external event telling me that they don't like it when I don't work hard enough. Now these stimulus, these response tendencies may vary in strength, okay, depending on past conditioning. So if I was in a situation as a child where my not working hard enough resulted in severe punishment, my past conditioning, that conditioning was telling me that if I don't work a certain way, if I don't work as hard enough, if I don't meet others' expectations of me, I will be punished. And I would have been, because that was so painful for me to experience and deal with, trying to push away the pain of that belief that I'm not good enough and I have to work hard enough and I'm always going to be punished if I don't, and the fear of that and the shame of that. I may have a tendency to try to push that away through suppression and repression. My pushing away, of course, is actually a pushing in. So when I push this pain in, these emotionally charged past memories of having to work harder to be enough for other people so I can avoid punishment, and pushing that down, and that becomes a part, it's a samskara, becomes a part of my personality, my ego, my psyche, this little meanness I created with all its likes and dislikes. I don't like it when someone tells me I don't work hard enough. That becomes something inside me. The reason why I don't like it when someone now, 30 years later, tells me that is because that painful memory that I stuffed emerges to be released with that trigger, with that stimulus situation of someone in my adult life telling me that they don't like it when I don't work enough. It's bringing up the old stuffed pain, the part of the psyche, the part of the veil filter through which I see and perceive the world, through which I respond to the world, my personality, my ego, my little me. Right? So that is the past conditioning, whatever happened in my life in the past that conditioned me to stuff that painful memory, that conditioned me to believe that as a core belief within me, is going to affect the strength of this reactivity. I may have just had someone say to me a couple of times, a sibling, for example, oh, you don't ever work hard enough, and it's going to bother me a bit, and I've stuffed it down, and it's in there. But it wasn't a severe past conditioning. It wasn't something that we heard every day. It wasn't something I was meant to believe I would be severely punished or would never be enough and never valued as who I am if I did not meet people's expectations of how much I should work. It was just something minor. So my reaction to that person that says I don't like it when you work enough, I may get a little angry and I may feel a little bit of agitation there, but I may not react in the same way I would if it was a lot of past conditioning that brought that down, very painful emotional energy around that idea that I need to work a certain level in order to avoid punishment and be enough for other people. If there's a lot of past conditioning, I am going to react severely because it really triggered me. The stimulus situation really triggered whatever was inside me to emerge. And I'm going to try my best to not have to deal with it. And the more I try not to deal with it, the more I push down and hold down, the more I'm not aware of the power of these samskaras, the power of these, response tendencies. And it will take me by surprise maybe when I react to the other person so strongly and tell them to go to where, and how dare you do that, or if I run out of the room crying, or if I say, oh my God, don't hit me, don't punish me, I'm sorry, whatever I do in response to that stimulus situation could be because of that past conditioning. And I'm so stuffed inside me that I cannot recognize that response tendency in me until I actually respond or react. So being aware then is everything when it comes to dismantling the personality. And we all know we need to dismantle the personality. The personality, this idea of who we think we are, is in the way of who we truly are. It is in the way of us experiencing life fully and wholly. It's in the way. So we do want to dismantle this personality or this psyche. And in order to do that, we have to be aware of our response tendencies, of our reactivity, of our resistance to what is, resistance to the pain that we've experienced years ago in our past conditioning, resistance to the pain that comes up with these triggers or these stimulus situations we encounter in everyday life. We need to be aware of those. We need to also be aware of what caused them. Instead of beating ourselves up for reacting to the person in such a severe way when they say that, we have to realize where it came from, our past conditioning, and realize that we do not need to cling to what we've been taught, what we've been conditioned to believe, who we think we were, who we were told we were, and what we were not. We don't have to cling to those painful memories. What was stuffed in pain is stored in pain, is going to come up in pain. So it is very painful when they come up, and we may resist the coming up of these samskaras, the coming up and the release of these response tendencies when we're triggered or when we encounter that stimulus situation. But we have to recognize that if we really want to be free and experience who we truly are, we need to get rid of the personality. Getting rid of the personality is being aware of our response tendencies, being aware of what triggers them, being aware of what happens, and letting it all go. Relaxing, releasing, and letting go of what we have stored inside as this personality. And every time we encounter a stimulus situation, instead of seeing it as a negative thing that we need to avoid, see it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to heal, an opportunity to purify, an opportunity to go deeper into finding and discovering who we truly are. Well, my timer just went off. I want to thank you again for joining me and giving me an opportunity to answer that wonderful quote. And I would just like to say it one more time. Personality is a collection of response tendencies that are tied to various stimulus situations and may vary in strength depending on past conditioning. You are not your personality. You're that which lies beneath it. Find it. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.